I believe that we start to foster that kind of alignment for progress. You start with the organizational structure, and you do what you can because of this overlap in roles and responsibilities to make the case that to get this going, you really need to have all these different areas roll up to the same functional leader. And that's what's going to help the company, the organization, avoid this duplication of effort. Because when you give, I think a lot of people became lawyers so they could have more autonomy and develop that expertise and be a leader in some kind of niche area. And now you're coming in and saying, well, you guys are all doing a lot of the same things, so now I'm going to tell you what to do. And there's like one thing it took me, again, many years to learn, is that you aren't going to enact change by telling people what to do. People hate being told what to do. You can look at Facebook and, when we get into election cycles, vote for this person, vote. Then they deliberately vote for the other person if they're pressured
right
too much on one candidate. So what you've got to do is you have to figure out, again, how to create that system where it's symbiotic. Otherwise, when you have the different leaders of these three groups, privacy, security, eDiscovery, rolling up to different managers, then you can make it can be done, but the amount of time it takes, you're losing ground. We're talking about the law getting out of technology, and sometimes technology is getting out of the law. You can't keep up, especially with all these, cyber attacks. So I think that you really have to push for that. And I think that what happens when you have those silos is everybody thinks they know, and that this is a unique problem to them, and they're uniquely positioned to solve it. And they're going to start to duplicate the same processes. They're going to buy duplicative tools, and before IT knows it, they're going to be saddled with unsustainable costs. And then you're not mitigating the risk. So, the old school way of doing this, right, is like that IRAC method, where you explain to people what is the issue, what's the rule, and scare them into compliance based on what it's truly going to cost and where the risk lies. And so with privacy, cyber, eDiscovery, what you're having, this convergence of challenges and processes, is you've got CPRA and these privacy rules, and you've got these regulators in Europe who are starting to heavily fine companies for over retaining data. And who's traditionally been in charge of data retention, data schedules, but also fishing from that lake, right? That's the eDiscovery folks, right? Now you've got cyber's in charge of protecting that data lake, or I almost call it a river because of the flow. But in any event, on top of that, we have now in the US, the plaintiff's bar. Records have become a class action risk. Who would have thought 15 years ago we were talking about records management, and really their job is to manage the records retention schedule and make sure that it's translated into all the different languages and updated online, and do some training and tell people do some record cleanup and carve out the time. And now records become the front and center class action plaintiff's risk with CPRA and these other states coming online. So, we've got to come up with a way to support this alignment and find leaders who can listen to each other if you don't have a cohesive org strategy, so that they can focus on solving the problems and not proving that they can come up with their own independent solution.